Let's dive straight in.
Missed dose. Forgot her insulin. December 18th, 2018. West Yorkshire, England.
23-year-old Emily Carter was a university student living alone in Huddersfield. She had type 1 diabetes since childhood and was known to miss insulin doses during stressful exam weeks. That December, she traveled home for Christmas break but forgot her insulin pen at her student flat. Over the next 2 days, she felt constant thirst, vomiting, and severe stomach pain. Her parents assumed it was just the flu. By the third night, she was barely conscious and breathing fast and deep, a classic sign of diabetic ketoacidosis.
Around 3:45 a.m.,
her father found her collapsed on the bathroom floor. Paramedics arrived
at 4:02 a.m.
Her blood sugar was over 33 millimoles per liter. Her blood was turning acidic. They rushed her to Calderdale Royal Hospital. Doctors tried IV insulin and fluids, but it was too late. The acid buildup caused brain swelling.
At 6:28 a.m.,
she went into cardiac arrest. They couldn't bring her back. She was 23. Her insulin bag was still sitting on her dorm bed, untouched.
Cause of death.
Diabetic ketoacidosis from missed insulin.
Ignored symptoms, energy drinks, and ignoring the signs. July 7th, 2013. Tampa, Florida.
19-year-old Jason Miller was working long summer shifts at a car repair shop. He had type 1 diabetes, but hated checking his blood sugar in front of people. He often replaced meals with energy drinks and gas station snacks. That weekend was brutally hot, over 95 degrees Fahrenheit. Jason worked a double shift
on July 6th.
He didn't take his insulin all day. His coworkers said he kept running to the bathroom and drinking water non-stop. He brushed it off, saying, "Just tired."
By 3 a.m. on July 7th,
his mom heard heavy breathing from his room. Deep, gasping breaths, like he was trying to suck in air but couldn't. She found him sweating, barely responsive, and vomiting. She called 911.
At 3:12 a.m.
Paramedics recorded his blood sugar at over 700 milligrams per deciliter. His blood was severely acidic. He was taken to St. Joseph's Hospital in Tampa. Doctors confirmed diabetic ketoacidosis with severe dehydration and organ shutdown.
At 5:47 a.m.,
Jason's heart stopped. They tried CPR and IV insulin for 30 minutes. Nothing worked. His backpack was found at work the next day. His insulin pens were still inside.
Cause of death.
Untreated diabetic ketoacidosis from skipped insulin and dehydration.
Hidden diagnosis, the sleepover that turned fatal. March 4th, 2017. Eau Claire, Wisconsin.
14-year-old Hannah Lewis had type 1 diabetes since she was 8. She was responsible and usually careful, but it was her best friend's birthday sleepover, and she didn't want to be the sick kid. She left her glucose monitor and insulin pump at home to avoid questions. That night, the group ate pizza, cake, and soda. Lots of sugar.
Around 1 a.m.,
Hannah started feeling nauseous and unusually tired. Her friends thought she was just exhausted.
By 3 a.m.,
she was breathing strangely, slow, then deep and rapid. She complained that her chest felt heavy. By morning,
around 7:10 a.m.,
her friends tried to wake her. She was cold, unresponsive, and making choking sounds. They called 911. Paramedics arrived
at 7:22 a.m.
Her blood sugar was unreadable. The glucometer just showed HI, meaning over 600 milligrams per deciliter. They rushed her to Mayo Clinic Health System, Eau Claire Hospital. Doctors diagnosed severe diabetic ketoacidosis. Despite 4 insulin and fluids, her brain had already swollen from acidity and dehydration.
At 9:03 a.m.,
Hannah was pronounced dead. Her mom later confirmed she left her insulin kit on her desk, untouched.
Cause of death.
Diabetic ketoacidosis after intentionally not taking insulin at a sleepover.
Insulin miss. He thought it was just a hangover. May 26th, 2019. Austin, Texas.
21-year-old Michael Turner was a college student at UT Austin. He had type 1 diabetes but was known for partying hard and ignoring his insulin when drinking. The night before Memorial Day, he went to a frat party drank heavily, and forgot to take both his long-acting and rapid insulin. He got home
around 2:30 a.m.,
vomiting but laughing it off to his roommates. They assumed he was just drunk.
By 9 a.m.,
He was still asleep, heavy breathing, sweating, dry lips. His roommates tried waking him, but he only mumbled and went limp.
at 10:12 a.m.,
They finally called 911. When paramedics arrived, his blood sugar was over 900 milligrams per deciliter. His blood pH was dangerously acidic, classic diabetic ketoacidosis. They rushed him to St. David's Medical Center. Doctors tried intravenous insulin, fluids, and oxygen, but his brain had already started swelling from the severe acidosis.
at 11:58 a.m.,
His heart stopped. Efforts to bring him back failed. His insulin kit and glucose meter were found in his backpack, never touched after the party.
cause of death,
Severe GDK, triggered by alcohol, dehydration, and skipped insulin.
no supervision. The school nurse wasn't there. September 14th, 2021, Fayette County, Georgia.
13-year-old Alyssa Moore was a middle schooler with type 1 diabetes. She usually checked her blood sugar at the school nurse's office every day before lunch. But on that Tuesday, the nurse was out sick, and no substitute came. Alyssa forgot her insulin pen at home.
At 12:15 p.m.,
During lunch, she ate pizza, chocolate milk, and a cookie.
by 1:30 p.m.,
She started getting dizzy and complained of stomach pain. Her teacher thought it was cramps.
at 2:10 p.m.,
Classmates noticed she was breathing fast, her hands were shaking, and she looked pale and sweaty. She asked to go to the bathroom. Minutes later, another student found her on the floor, barely conscious, gasping. The school called 911.
at 2:21 p.m.,
Paramedics arrived 8 minutes later. Her blood sugar was over 600 milligrams per deciliter. They rushed her to Piedmont Fayette Hospital. Diagnosis: diabetic ketoacidosis. Doctors worked fast. Intravenous fluids, insulin, oxygen. But it had been too long. Her blood was too acidic, her brain began swelling.
at 5:06 p.m.,
Alyssa was pronounced dead. Her insulin was still in her kitchen at home.
cause of death,
Diabetic ketoacidosis after missed insulin and lack of medical supervision at school.
pump failure. The insulin pump battery died. February 2nd, 2020, Des Moines, Iowa.
29-year-old Laura Green had been using an insulin pump for years to manage her type 1 diabetes. It made life easier until the night it failed. She was home alone during a snowstorm. The power had gone out hours earlier.
Around 11 p.m.,
Her insulin pump alarmed, low battery. She texted a friend saying, "Gonna change it in a bit." She didn't. She fell asleep watching TV.
sometime after 2 a.m.,
The pump shut off completely, delivering zero insulin. By morning,
around 7:30 a.m.,
Laura's cousin came to check on her after she didn't answer calls. She found her on the couch, breathing heavily. Deep, labored Kussmaul breathing, a sign of severe diabetic ketoacidosis. Laura's skin was cold, but she was sweating. The living room smelled faintly like fruit, from ketones. 911 was called.
at 7:41 a.m.,
Paramedics measured her blood sugar, over 850 milligrams per deciliter. She was rushed to Mercy One Des Moines Medical Center. Doctors pushed IV insulin, fluids, electrolytes, but the acid buildup had already caused brain edema and kidney failure.
at 9:22 a.m.,
Her heart stopped. Her insulin pump was still attached. Screen black, battery dead.
cause of death,
Diabetic ketoacidosis caused by insulin pump failure and delayed response.
insulin rationing. He couldn't afford insulin anymore. June 27th, 2019, Minneapolis, Minnesota.
26-year-old Kevin Larson aged out of his parents' health insurance after turning 26. His monthly insulin cost jumped to over $1,300, more than he made working at a hardware store. He started rationing his doses to make it last. By late June, his friends noticed he'd lost weight fast. He was always thirsty, always running to the bathroom, and constantly tired. On June 26th, he messaged a friend, "I'll be fine, just waiting for payday."
On June 27th, around 5 p.m.,
His roommate found him on the floor of their apartment, vomiting and barely conscious. His breathing was rapid and deep. There were empty water bottles around him and two nearly empty insulin pens. 911 was called.
At 5:11 p.m.,
Paramedics recorded his blood sugar as over 900 milligrams per deciliter. He was taken to Hennepin County Medical Center. Doctors started emergency treatment, intravenous insulin, fluids, electrolytes, but his blood was already too acidic. His organs were shutting down.
at 7:04 p.m.,
Kevin went into cardiac arrest. They tried CPR. Nothing worked. He died because he couldn't afford insulin. A bottle of insulin was found in his drawer, almost empty, used drop by drop.
cause of death,
Diabetic ketoacidosis from insulin rationing due to cost.
disaster neglect, missed during hurricane evacuation. August 30th, 2005, New Orleans, Louisiana.
51-year-old Patricia Holmes had type 1 diabetes and lived alone in New Orleans East. When Hurricane Katrina hit and levees broke, she evacuated to the Louisiana Superdome like thousands of others. In the chaos, she forgot her insulin at home.
For the first 24 hours,
She was okay, just thirsty and tired. But with no refrigeration, no medical supplies, and limited food, her blood sugar started climbing. Temperatures inside the dome hit 100 degrees Fahrenheit. She kept asking volunteers for insulin. There was none.
by day 3,
She was vomiting and breathing heavily. A volunteer medic suspected diabetic ketoacidosis, but supplies were gone. Her blood sugar was measured with a borrowed meter. It just read HI, meaning over 600 milligrams per deciliter. She lay on a cardboard mat surrounded by evacuees.
around 4:20 p.m. on August 30th,
She became unresponsive. Paramedics tried CPR, but there were no IV fluids, no insulin, no hospital transport available. She was pronounced dead inside the Superdome, one of several diabetic deaths during the storm. When rescue teams finally reached her house days later, her insulin vials were still in the fridge.
cause of death,
Diabetic ketoacidosis during hurricane evacuation, no access to insulin.
delayed action. He thought he could sleep it off. October 11th, 2014, Phoenix, Arizona.
32-year-old Ryan Mitchell worked overnight shifts at a logistics warehouse. He had type 1 diabetes but often skipped blood sugar checks, saying he could feel it when things were bad.
On October 10th, after a long shift,
He went home exhausted and fell asleep without taking his long-acting insulin. The next day,
around 2 p.m.,
his girlfriend noticed he was still asleep. She heard deep, labored breathing from the bedroom, the kind that sounds like gasping for air, known in hospitals as Kussmaul breathing. She tried waking him. No response. She called 911.
at 2:27 p.m.,
Paramedics arrived within minutes. His blood sugar was so high that the glucometer couldn't read it, likely over 800 milligrams per deciliter. He was rushed to Banner, University Medical Center, Phoenix. Doctors flooded him with IV insulin, fluids, potassium. But he was already in severe diabetic ketoacidosis. His blood pH was below 7.0, dangerously acidic.
at 4:11 p.m.,
He went into cardiac arrest. They tried for
25 minutes.
nothing worked. Ryan died because he thought he could sleep through it. But DKA doesn't wait.
Cause of death,
Diabetic ketoacidosis after missed insulin and delayed treatment.
diabetes isn't loud. It doesn't warn you with explosions or gunshots. It's quiet. And that's what makes it deadly. Every story you just heard, different ages, different places, had one thing in common. It wasn't the disease alone. It was a missed shot, a broken pump, a forgotten bag, a storm, or someone thinking, I'll be fine. But their bodies said otherwise. These weren't accidents. They were chain reactions. Small mistakes that turned fatal fast. High blood sugar, ketones, acid in the blood, brain swelling, heart stops. And once that spiral starts, it doesn't care if you're 13 or 50. If you've made it this far, remember, these were real people. Only the names were changed. So don't just scroll away. Stay aware. Stay alive. Respect your body, because it won't give you a second chance if you ignore it. If you want more real stories like this, subscribe. And if you know someone living with diabetes, check on them, for real.